Yo, what is going on, everyone? So it's well known that the Australian government is full of feminists. Right from the top down, from Malcolm Turnbull, who says, I would describe myself as a feminist. Women hold up half the sky. Trying to appease his overlords. He's the Prime Minister of Australia previously, but yet he's the one that's kissing ass to people below him. So I don't get how that works out, but he's a walking mangina. That's all I've got to say about it. Let me get into this though. And this is for a video that you can share with any feminist who doesn't think that the government is run, controlled by, and educated by feminists. Because they are using our Australian taxpayer dollars in this particular instance only, and there's several instances. In just this one instance, there was $200,000 paid to just one organization, in order to promote radical feminist doctrine. Exclusive, how 200 grand of your taxes is being spent on teaching public servants, that is government employees, about, and I quote, mansplaining and becoming radical feminists. Scott Morrison's own government is spending 200 grand on workshops teaching public servants in Canberra about radical feminism and mansplaining. The Prime Minister and his Treasurer Josh Frydenberg this week admitted the summer bushfires and the coronavirus were likely to jeopardize his government's promise of delivering a budget surplus in 2020, which is a reasonable thing to say. Despite that, the public purse is still generously funding radical feminist workshops run by Future Women, a training company which former Australian Women's Weekly editor Helen McCabe, which is Australian Women's Weekly, for those of you who don't know, is just basically a trash magazine like Woman's Day or Who Weekly, Australian Women's Weekly. It's basically just a vagina magazine for people who like to gossip about shit that is none of their business. So yeah, the training company which she founded in 2017 to capitalize on the Me Too movement. Surprise, surprise. She describes her workshops as a safe space to motivate women as we push for a gender equal world in which women rule. I added that last little bit, but obviously it's true. An analysis of government tender documents by Daily Mail Australia show taxpayers spent $198,000 in late 2019 on training and management workshops across 7 government departments and agencies. So just let that sink in. 7 different government departments, which each employ probably tens, if not hundreds of thousands of employees, all being indoctrinated in radical feminist thought. This included $33,000 by Morrison's Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet for Human Resource Services through to the end of 2020. And in case you don't know, apparently one of the career pathways for gender studies, if you go to the La Trobe University in Melbourne's website, is human resource management, policies, social services, and basically an education, and basically all of the areas in which you have control, power, and influence over the entire human race in that country. Department of so here we go. Right? So here's where the taxes went. Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet, Human Resource Services is the wording for the services that were rendered. From November 28th, 2019 to December 31st, 2020, that was $33,000. Department of Home Affairs, Education and Training Services was the description. From December 5th, 2019 to December 4th, 2020, $33,000. Department of Employment, Skills, Small and Family Business, Human Resource Services was the description. From November 27th, 2019 to December 31, 2020, $33,000. Department of Industry, Innovation and Science, Education and Training Services was the description. From December 13, 2019 to December 13, 2019 to December 31, 2020, $33,000. Department of Infrastructure, Transport, Cities and Regional Development, Management support services was the description from December 5, 2019 to November 10, 2020, 16,500. Australian Public Service Commission, education and training services, again the description from November 7th, 2019 to November 12th, 2019. I'm almost done here, 33,000. Digital Transformation Agency, last but not least, education and training services from December 5, 2019 to December 5, 2020, $16,500. So the source of this was from AusTender, Commonwealth of Australia, basically the tendering portal that talks about all the government tenders that have been put forward by different companies on future women tenders. Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton's department also shelled out 33 grand for a year's worth of education and training workshops. The department in charge of employment and industry and the Australian Public Service Commission also paid for seminars on feminism. Future Women's Manifesto, which by the way there's a link to in the description, in the source for this article, which I've dropped in the low bar below, describes itself as an organization for women who object to being mansplained, talked over, ignored, dismissed, or told to take the minutes or pour the tea, to sit down, be quiet, be nice and decorative, to not make this about gender all the time. are labeled difficult and disingenuous. Oh, isn't that fucking rich, right? Women who make everything about gender all the time being told to not make things about gender all the time. Oh, that's mansplaining. You're a bunch of fucking idiots, you dumb shit feminists. My God. Now, just for a moment here, right? Let's just take a second. So, object to being told to take the minutes. So, who's going to take the minutes if they don't voluntarily offer to do so? Well, then the men will be told to take the minutes. And that will be gender equality, because women aren't working while men are, even though they get paid the same, because that's what's being legislated for, right? And who would be pouring the tea? Or will it be all the men pouring the tea? It wouldn't be an equal distribution of reasonable things that people might be asked to do. Fucking hell, this is ridiculous. Despite that description, Mrs. McCabe insists her group did not conduct seminars on mansplaining. She says, the idea we are offering mansplaining workshops is not correct. No, you're offering feminist workshops that include talking about mansplaining, even if you don't use those wordings. She said in a statement on Thursday afternoon, Miss McCabe said Future Women provided professional development programs to leading private and public sector organizations throughout Australia in partnership with Career CEO, a leadership training group. You know, the CEO position, that role that all women aspire to because they don't want to stay at home with their families ever. Right? No woman in Australia wants to stay at home with their family. They just want to be in the C-suite, up on the top level with the harbour views as the CEO, working 80 hours a week and telling people what to do. Yeah, that's totally what women want to do until the age of 50. Here we go. Their communicating with authority workshops are not gender specific, she said. Future Women is dedicated to helping women connect, lead and learn. Time out. Just want to have a conversation about those two very short sentences that were just covered off on. So Future Women, specifically designating women. Future Women is dedicated to helping women, and only women, connect, lead and learn. But apparently their communicating with authority workshops are not gender specific. Let's just take a minute for that level of cognitive dissonance from these dumbass feminists to sink in. The Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet said Future Women had been hired to train 10 women among their staff, with funding allocated from within the existing human resources budget. You know, the human resources budget that mainly male taxpayers pay for? Just saying. The Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet said it is aimed at developing and inspiring future leaders. which means it's aimed at developing and inspiring future female leaders. Not men, just female. And is completely in line with the government's spending guidelines. Yes, because the government spending lines allow them to discriminate based on gender, even though that's totally illegal. And the only reason they're not being pulled up for it is because there's no federal anti-discrimination body. There's no federal body against corruption. They only have state-based ones, which of course are more easily manipulated. The program, so here we go. As well as our commitment to training and development for our staff, and only the female staff, of course, this program is one of a number of initiatives aimed at addressing the shortage of women in senior leadership positions across the Australian public service. And of course, just to be clear, the Australian public service wage statistics are not factored in by the Workplace Gender Equality Agency when talking about their gender wage gap. In fact, did you know that almost 60% of the Australian population is not factored into the wage gap statistics that the Workplace Gender Equality Agency, the government-funded agency, actually spouts out? Well, yes, that's right, because they don't factor in the wages of people who have less than 100 employees in the private sector. They don't factor in any salary in the public service. They don't factor in a single salary from the public service, even though there's all of this affirmative action going on to push women into high level leadership positions, which, by the way, get paid hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, per person, on our dime. Yeah, that's right. While the department suggested the training wasn't about promoting feminism, Future Women's Manifesto alleges females in the workplace have their complaints invalidated for the modest crime of being a woman. Sounds like some bullshit ass feminist rhetoric to me. The Future Women's Academy vows to combat unconscious bias by promoting feminism at work, and its website also features a guide on fourth wave feminism. Of course it does, because why wouldn't a feminist organization have have guides on fourth wave feminism? We're driving an ambitious change agenda. Yes, you are driving an agenda, a feminist agenda. We're driving an ambitious change agenda to modernize our workplaces and create more diverse, inclusive, and gender-balanced work cultures where everyone can contribute and achieve success. Yeah, that's right. Everyone has to achieve success except men. Everyone has to achieve success if they have a vagina. If they don't have one, then let's not worry about that little chestnut, because that's not really relevant to the discussion at hand, is it now? Of course not. Why would it be? So ridiculous. I mean, this affirmative action has been implemented in Australia for decades now. Decades. I mean, you just can't even... And they were pushing it before it even became legislated. Emily Dye, the Director of Policy at the Australian Taxpayers Alliance, said taxpayer spending on feminism workshops was wasteful. Gee, imagine that. Wasting money on bullshit feminist rhetoric and indoctrination in the public service. Wasteful. Who would have thought? As the bushfires and coronavirus required more government resource. Yes, they do. But, you know, we can't let those pesky bushfires and those pesky viral plagues get in the way of helping women not feel upset because they got asked to take the minutes at a meeting in a government funded organization where they're getting paid stupid amounts of money for not doing a hell of a lot, as the men in the public service are as well, but the men don't have affirmative action to push them up to the top. It's an extreme waste of money, particularly when our budget surplus is decreasing. The economy is being strained by coronavirus. Bushfires were super expensive, she told Daily Mail Australia on Thursday. I think she's absolutely correct. Emily Dye, you just got a fucking medal from this boy. And that's something I don't give out too easy. But, you know, you're calling it for what it is, male or female, whether you're male or female, to call it out for what it is, I respect that. So, respect where due. And then we're spending money on random workshops. Every dollar matters to the taxpayer. That is 100% correct. 100% correct. Ms. Dye said that as a woman, she found the idea of mansplaining seminars and gender workshops to be incredibly frustrating. Congratulations to Emily for not being a complete retard, because God knows there's plenty of them. That includes Dr. Michael Flood, who, oh God, don't even get me started on Michael Flood. He's just a fucking retard. As a woman, I don't really have a problem with that. It's pushing a certain agenda. Is that what she, wait, hang on. Yeah, found that mansplaining seminars and gender workshops to be incredibly frustrating. A lot of people don't see mansplaining or manspreading as an issue, she said. That's because it's not. As a woman, I really don't have a problem with that. It's pushing a certain agenda. I don't know if she's, I don't know what she's talking about specifically there, whether she talks about people not seeing mansplaining or manspreading as an issue, or whether she's talking about the seminars. I'm not going to speculate. I'm just going to move on because that's a bit ambiguous. Ms. Dye argued the focus on so-called microaggressions did little to tackle more serious issues like sexual harassment and genuine, notice the wording there, genuine cases of sexism. Future Women also has a magazine-style website with a hot list of books by feminist authors, including Naomi Wolf, who was arrested in 2011 for participating in Occupy Wall Street protests in New York. Controversial feminist Clementine Ford is described as one of 8 things Future Women is loving right now, despite the fact she was removed in 2018 from a Lifeline charity event for tweeting, "Kill all men." While Clementine admits that she was just joking around, and when I say joking around, she was just trying to piss some people off, which she seemed to have effectively done, that "Kill all women" tweeted by any person, man or woman in Australia, would not be tolerated on any level, let alone given a platform by mainstream media outlets to continue to spout their bile and their bullshit. So this is the double standard. Former Labour advisor Jamila Rizvi described Ford's book Boys Will Be Boys as a gritty, maddening and eye-opening read. By the way, guys and ladies who are watching, I would like any of you who are sick of this Boys Will Be Boys crap to just do a quick online search. Just go to any search engine and search Boys Will Be Boys. I want you to notice that pretty much all but very few of the articles are just articles written by women complaining about men saying boys will be boys, when in reality men just don't say that. That's something that women tend to say because they can't explain young male behavior because they've never been a young male, so how the fuck would they be able to explain it without experiencing? I've found that so many women that do use boys will be boys use that term to essentially go, well, fuck, boys will be boys. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they're doing it. They're just doing it. And I can't explain it. And I don't know how to stop it. So my hands are in the air. Boys will be boys, right? So many more women use that term than men. Do your searching. You'll see what I'm talking about, right? It's either a bunch of women saying boys will be boys to try and explain things that they don't know how to explain, or saying boys will be boys is a toxic thing that men say, even though it's mainly women saying it. Or you'll find articles written by men calling out women for calling out men for saying something they didn't say most of the time. So, you know, whenever you hear something that doesn't sound right, it probably isn't, and you should probably do more research. Whenever you see something being left out of a discussion, right? If you just dig further, guys. Whenever you see something, just dig. That's what I do, and I end up with 6,500 articles that I can't get to but you know, it helps to give me a better understanding about what's going on, which is why you guys tune into me. So I appreciate that. Fortunately, yeah, I'm not going down that rabbit hole today. We're going to end up with a 45-minute video otherwise. Future Women also promotes hard left politicians, including New York-based American Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who rails against capitalism. And of course it does, because what good would feminism be without big government to promote their ideological agenda? An article on the Future Women website incorrectly. Why let facts get in the way of feelings? Let's just put whatever bullshit we want to put on our website and people will eat it up and be like, yay, feminism. An article incorrectly describes Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, 30, as the youngest female senator in U.S. history. She is in the House of Representatives representing New York's 14th congressional district. So she's not actually a senator. But again, why let facts get in the way of a good story? It also seems to overlook how the Democrat lawmaker doesn't govern the United States. That's the job of Republican President Donald Trump. Yes, he is still your president, and his administration. AOC continues to unsettle established politicians on both sides of the aisle with her thorough, modern approach to governing, whether that's asking a killer question during congressional hearings. You know, those killer questions that make her look like retards because she hasn't done her research. Or joining a protest outside Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office on climate change in her first week. I think we should protest. That's a shout out to you, meme. Guys, if you haven't seen me memes, that's ME space ME space MEME. If you haven't seen his YouTube channel, go check it out. It's pretty good. And he's actually one of my followers. So if you see this, brother, appreciate your content. The Future Women website also features a glowing profile on comedian Hannah Gadsby. Oh God, not that fucking useless clown that's not funny. Hannah Gadsby, who once described Australian celebrity export Barry Humphries as an inhumane dick biscuit of the highest order. Oh, so stunning and brave and hilarious. Oh, dick biscuit, where the fuck did you get that one from? Your dick cupboard? Fuck's sake. For his politically incorrect humor. Yeah, he's a dick biscuit for being politically incorrect. Because, you know, people are only good people if they comply with the politically correct orthodoxy of the feminist left-hard order. She moves effortlessly from storytelling to human observation, sexual innuendo to gender politics, and a thorough dissection of privilege with ease. The profile by Ms. Rizvisfed, give me a fucking break. Observing her performance is like watching a weaver at work. You know, those basket weavers that you feminists say are so oppressed? But apparently, when AOC is putting on a performance, it's so amazing, so inspirational, so brave, so stunning. Absolute bullshit. Oh my God. Let's not forget the 3,000 jobs that AOC would have brought into her New York City community, right? And man, I remember when that Amazon were going to bring their headquarters into the Amazon were going to bring their headquarters into NYC, and NYC was going to say, okay, well, what we'll do is we will give you a tax break for the first X amount of $1 million that you earn, knowing that they were going to bring billions of dollars in. We're going to give you a tax break for up to the first couple of billion, like however much it was. But then after that, it will be normal tax rates, right? And that was basically an incentive to bring the Amazon into New York City, because that would have created jobs, which would have created income tax revenue for the government, which would have created business revenue and therefore taxation through supporting local businesses and services, you know, basically drawing people to NYC and creating a thriving hub of business. Yet AOC was like, well, we could be spending that $1.2 billion on our people, on our local people in New York City, instead of giving it to big capitalist businesses. Newsflash, AOC, it wasn't an $1.2 billion handout. It was a $1.2 billion tax break. So what that means is they weren't actually giving Amazon anything. They just weren't taking anything from Amazon until they hit a threshold, after which time they would have creamed, absolutely creamed, like tax revenue. Like New York City would have been booming. And you know what? AOC would have had enough money to put all of her policies in place in NYC if Amazon came in. They would have had all that cash to implement AOC's policies. Would have been able to implement all these green energy policies that cost so much money. All of this socialist bullshit in the public housing and all of these handouts and universal basic income. They could have done all of that off the back of Amazon revenue. But no, AOC had to fuck it up, right? Because she got her useless piece of paper in economics from Boston University. She got an economics degree from Boston University and she can't work out basic maths. Thank you to that $2 donation from Ian Williams. And given that Ian Williams is the sole super chat in the building today, you've just sponsored this video. Thank you, Ian Williams, for sponsoring this video. I appreciate you, man. Thank you to all of my faithful mods. I appreciate the work that you do, guys, and for posting those links earlier. Guys, I want to get your thoughts. Please drop your comments in the comments below. To any of you watching, smash that thumbs up, man. Let's get this video trending as much as possible. So yeah, share this video, comment, like, interact. That's the best way we can get this content out there so people can find out more about what's really going on with the feminist agenda. It's very important to red pill people by way of this content. If you do want to support this channel and you're looking for a new web browser that isn't Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, head on over to sydneymctower.com/brave. Download the free Brave browser. No cost to you, but it does help support this channel. I've used it on my phone and my laptop and my desktop computer. It is freaking awesome. It's all of the cool features of Chrome, the ease of use, and the extensions without the privacy concerns that come with Google. And thank you also to co-sponsor D Jones with a $2 super chat donation. I appreciate you guys. Anyway, man, I'm out of here for now. Would love to get your thoughts in the comments below. Donate by PayPal if you feel the desire to, or crypto or any other methods. Everything's in the description below. I appreciate you guys. I will catch you in the next video. Peace.